Welcome to Fjook Enterprises YouTube channel. This is Conversations with Fjook, and I am your host, Fjook. And with me today is Craig, because we are going over the Star Wars Unlimited Showdown that he went to.
Hello.
And if this was recorded and edited, this is what the intro would be, but because this is live, I can't do that.
Absolutely fine. It's more fun live.
So, for anyone tuning in right now or watching this later, what is the Star Wars? What is Star Wars Unlimited?
Star Wars Unlimited is a collectible card game. You purchase packs and you open them up and you get random cards. You build a deck with those cards with a specific strategy in mind, and you play against other players. It's set in the Star Wars universe, so anyone that likes sci-fi, Star Wars, Luke and Han or Baby Yoda, Grogu, that kind of thing. You can play your favorite characters and have fun with your friends.
So I know you've explained this to me, but refresh my memory. What is a showdown in regards to Star Wars Unlimited?
Right. So there are specific kind of tentpole events that are happening with FFG's Star Wars Unlimited. FFG is Fantasy Flight Games, and they're the ones that created the Star Wars Unlimited. We call it SWU, if you don't mind me saying SWU from now on, because I'm kind of used to it. The tentpole things are that we do pre-releases, which are pretty standard with most CCGs now. We do a weekly play, which is an 8-week kind of casual tournament where you go in and you get a free booster pack with 3 cards in it that have promos and alternate art cards in them. And then you have the showdown. And the showdown is kind of, hey, it's been a couple months now because we did the 8-week thing, and we now want to kind of celebrate the set. And it's okay. Let's see how good you've gotten. So bring your deck, bring your most competitive deck, or if you just want to play casually, you can. Stores do have to opt in to do a showdown, and the showdown in Alberta was held in Edmonton this past weekend.
So who all went up with you?
I left here with 4 other people, and we met another person up there who is also a part of our local gaming group. We had Jesse, who we've nicknamed Django, so he's Django Jesse. He's the guy that went up from, you'll have to forgive me, east of Red Deer. I'm still new to Alberta. I have trouble with some of the places, but I forget. He's told me a dozen times, and I keep telling him, man, I'll never remember that. If I don't go to a place, I'm not going to remember it. And then we had Kai Baka. Kai took her from Bowden. He went up as well. I should also mention Jesse was playing an Emperor deck, which is an Emperor Palpatine deck, which is themed on the dark side. That was his competitive deck that he took up there. Kai played a Darth Vader deck, which he was doing really, really well with it. It's really just about destruction. It's kind of fast. Then we had my son William. He went up with a Jin Urso, or not Jin Urso, sorry, an Iden Verso deck, which was control, just all control. Basically, he wants to control the board, control your hand, control everything. It's nauseating. It's kind of hard to deal with sometimes. Then we had Dan Landry. He had a Boba Fett deck that he borrowed from me. It was Boba Green. And it wasn't completely the meta list. And meta, again, if your listeners aren't aware, Meta is basically the top decks, the best decks that are working with the cards that are available. So he went up with a Boba Green deck, which is Boba Fett was his leader, and he had a bunch of really good kind of sneaky cards, is how Boba kind of plays. Him and Han kind of play that way. And then who am I missing here? Derek, Jar Jar Derek. He had a Leia deck, a Leia command deck, and it's pretty quick. It's a pretty quick deck. It's on par, maybe just a little less than my deck, which is the fastest deck in the format at the moment. It's Sabine Green. I had to think about that for a second. I played it a lot. I should remember. And anyway, it's extremely aggressive. It just gets a lot of units out on the board and swings for a lot of damage every turn. So, not to give you like the whole story, but I mean, you asked.
So how did the 6 of you prepare for the tournament?
There was a lot of playtesting. So the game came out on March 1st, 4th. That's when the pre-releases were. We didn't really have a pre-release here. But we built our decks. We kind of looked at the meta, watched a lot of YouTube videos. We watched a lot of people kind of playtesting and got ideas on how decks work, what kind of synergy was with different leaders with different cards, and how the different aspects work, which are the different colors in the game. So there's 6 aspects, so it's a little different than, let's say, Magic, where it only has 5. But yeah, we there were some days we were 7 o'clock in the morning is when we finished, because we really wanted to prepare. So it was pretty good. I would say everybody was saying I was a really tough out, the other 5 guys, and that it was going to be, it's going to be a really interesting tournament. So yeah, I would man hours into that. My gosh, over the last 5-6 weeks since we found out the tournament was happening in Edmonton, we played a lot. I had people over at my house every day.
So how'd the tournament go?
You're not aware of how the tournament went? You didn't read that, or you just like me to answer the question?
The people watching this video don't have access. Some of the people watching this video don't have access to all the information I have.
Fair. I'm smiling because I will. So when we got there, you go through 5 rounds, whatever your win-loss record is after that, and based on tiebreakers, then you cuts to the top 8. So 24 people. I won't get into all the matches and things like that, but I was 3-2 at the end of the preliminary round, and everyone else except for my son were either 1-4 or 2-3. So even with all that play testing, even with all the practice we had ahead of time, and also like sharing cards out of our collections to help people make their decks a little bit better, it still was tough. It was good competition. Apparently they have about a 300-person play group up there that goes around to all the different stores, and here in Olds we only have like 9-10 people. It's a little hard to do that, but anyway, yeah, my son William, with his Iden deck, he went 5-0, so he was considered number 1 going into the thing, because he smashed it out of the park. The 2 people that I lost to were also in the top 8, and I, for some reason, finished 5th. So I think it was because the 2 guys that I lost to were also in the top 8 was the reason I got into the top 8. So I was like, wow, let's go. And I was pretty excited, pretty pumped. We all got a special top 8 special card that you could only get by attending one of these events. And then we played the first of the top 8, and I went up against the guy who had just beaten me the previous round. And so I played him. But this time around, I knew what his tactics were because I played him. And so it was a best of one, and it was one and done. And so I used his tactic against him, and he just kind of went, "Oh," and I was able to pull off the win and win and make it into the top four. Will, of course, also won, so he was then 6-0. And I was 4-2. So then the next round, the guy came around and gave us top four of these cards, the top four prize, which was the same card, but now it's got a top four stamped on it. And of course, once again, I faced someone I had lost to previously. So the guy, my second game that I played was a loss, and I played him again. And this time, I think I was just able to outplay him, is all it was, because he was playing a Boba Green deck, and he played it very well, very, very well. And I had very little, what do you call it, experience against Boba Green, because we didn't really build the deck until like a week before the tournament. And then we said, oh, we should probably play this because we might see this deck. But I didn't play test it against it enough. But anyway, I got him. So I'm in the finals, and I look over, and everybody's sitting around watching Will because he's got a perfect record, and he continued his perfect record. So it was myself and my son in the finals. And I'll tell you something. I taught him how to get into card games about 16 years ago. And about 15 years ago, I stopped being able to beat him. He's got one of those minds, like The Beautiful Mind, right? Anyway, and so we're saying it was announced, and so we're like, oh God. So he came and sat down beside me or across from me, and the guy came up and gave us our finalist prizes. Again, the same card, but now it's stamped finalist. So there's only 2 of those in all of Alberta. And we played our match. And Will says that he made a misplay, but I can't confirm that because it was a card. He had to look at 2 cards, and he put one to the bottom of the deck. And he immediately regretted doing that because he should have kept the card up there so he could draw it, because it was a removal spell. A removal event. Sorry, we don't say spells. And so anyway, long story short, I got him. He was at 22 damage on his base. I was at 22 damage on my base. Both bases go to 25. So through the next 3 damage wins, and I had 1 guy left on my field. He hadn't played any units in space. There's 2 arenas, space and on the ground. He didn't have anything in space. He was completely exhausted. He couldn't play anything. And I went, okay, I'm going to attack for 3 damage with my red 3, my spaceship. And I got him, and I won. And it's been like 3 days or whatever. And I think I'm still in shock. I know I did it. And I call myself a champion every once in a while because I'm owning it. But yeah, it kind of boggles my mind, especially the way it all ran out. It was me versus him in the end. I didn't expect that. And anyway, so I got the champion card, and so I have all 4 of the cards, and there was only 1 champion card for all of Alberta. So, woot woot! I'll toot my own horn.
It's the same card, just printed. It's not the card that you got is not a card that anyone. It's just different art or something special, but it's in the normal packs, right?
So right, so yeah, so what it is, so what they did is took a character, Mace Windu. He's the only guy with a purple lightsaber. Saber, played in the movies by Samuel L. Jackson, and he's a decent card. He's a 7-drop, so he comes out on 6th turn, because you start with 2 resources. So turn 1 is 2, and then you go up from there. So on 6th turn, he comes into play, and he could just keep attacking as long as he knocks a unit out. He can go on and attack another unit, and attack another unit, attack. So he's pretty good. He's pretty good. The art that they had for it, they had him kind of running towards you in the picture. And that card, of course, you buy the packs or can buy it online. I think it's worth about $27. currently. And then what they did for this event, they took that one card out of the 252 available cards from the set, and they did a new artwork with it. And he's called the Party Crasher, and he's leaping through the air with his lightsaber, and he's coming down on a bunch of droids, kind of like in Attack of the Clones, Episode 2 for Star Wars, the movie. And yeah, so they did this new art, and then every single one of them has a hyper foil treatment. So not the normal foil treatment that they put on regular foil cards you get out of the packs, but it has a really nice high end gloss. I'm sure when we see each other in person, I'll show them to you because you'll be quite impressed. And yeah, so it's a different artwork. It's got that foiling, and then each one of them is stamped in gold, obviously not actual gold, but the color gold, with top 8, top 4, finalist, and champion. So can't get them anywhere else.
What is what is what is something you learned at the Showdown?
I learned I could beat my son. But I also learned that, to be completely honest with you, no matter winning or losing, everyone there had smiles on their faces, which was really nice to see, because in a lot of other card games, um, people can get upset, or they get tilted, or they scoop, that sort of thing. And in this game, no. Like my friend Derek, he was so excited that he won a match out of 5, and it was his last one, and he was like, I'm 0-4. But you couldn't wipe the smile off his face, and that's all he could talk about. I'm sitting there, I'm the champion. I'm like, I should be like, woohoo, I'm the guy. And he's like so excited about getting that win. I'm like, yeah, you know what? This is like, it's so good. And all the guys that were there and the other people that came and showed up, kind of like the spectators, great group, of people. The youngest was 16, the oldest was, I think, 62. And so it's a very diverse age group. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was good to be in that community. I have missed that, because I find Magic can be it can be a little toxic at times. You can see people kind of flip out, or people arguing about the rules, and it's not like that with Star Wars. I mean, it might get that way with Star Wars eventually, when it's been around for 30 years. But right now, it's just nice. It's easy to play and have a lot of fun. So I don't know if that really answers your question, but what I learned, but it was definitely a wonderful experience.
When I gave you these questions, I did not expect you to be the champion. But as my penultimate question, do you have any advice for people going to the next Showdown?
Um, I guess the biggest thing is, kind of learn what the like what you're going to be expected to go up against. So the preliminary stuff, where we were doing a lot of the deck testing and watching online. I mean, you don't have to do it as obsessively as we did, but we wanted to go up and have a good showing, right? And we did. Um, the the amount of fun that you're going to have at something like this is going to be based on your expectations. So my expectations, I knew the decks that were out there. And so that took all of that worry away from me. I didn't know the players. And I met them all. They're all fantastic. Everybody shakes hands start of the game, shake hands at the end of the game, trading cards, having a great time. But yeah, if you're looking for that kind of experience, that kind of inclusion, that kind of group, and just go up and have a good time. And I did not expect to win. I'll be completely honest with you. Even though I was playing the fastest deck and one of the what they call the top 3 in the meta, even though I was playing that, I said, no, there's just going to be guys up there that are just going to be way better than me. They're going to have some bean decks, whatever. And I just went up there and had fun. I had no stress. That was the biggest thing, I think. Just know what you might be playing against, know your deck, and then just go up and have an absolute blast, or wherever the showdown's at. You just enjoy it. I had no anxiety, no stress. I just played. Even when I found out I was like going up against my son in the final, I was like, I usually freak out, and I didn't. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna play. So yeah, I guess that would be the kind of things, the kind of advice I would give, you know.
I always end my interviews with the same question, which to give you. I always end my interviews with the same question, and that is to, and it gives you a chance to stand on a soapbox and shout out someone or something you want.
I can say anything.
What is
Within reason.
something? What is something? Do you have anything, anyone you would like to shout out at this time?
I would like to thank my son for being an excellent sport and very good at all the games that he plays, because he continually challenges me. I'd love to say a big thank you to Dan. He's been a friend of mine for 15 years or more. I can't actually tell you how long because it's long. And he's really good at rulings and putting together decks and kind of tweaking and fine tuning stuff. So I say that to him and just the rest of the crew. You know, Jesse and Kai and Derek, George. You know, all the guys that we play. I know I didn't mention George before, but I should mention him. But yeah, yeah, I do that. I think and also to you as well for giving me this platform to say those things. So
Thank you for joining me for this live. I wanted it to be live because I wanted the experience to be fresh, and the showdown is fresh. So I figured doing it live was the best option. So, as I said, thank you for joining me.
thanks for having me.